We did not hear that. We will call the governing board meeting of the Lammersville Unified District Board to order at 7:00 p.m. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. At this time, please take a moment to silence or turn off your cell phones. For those of you that would like to address the board on a specific agenda item or non-agenda item during public comment, please fill out a blue comment card at the back of the room so we know when to call upon you. This evening, we have students from Lammersville Elementary School to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hello, I'm Alyssa Vieira.
And I am Isabella Alfaro.
We are the ASB presidents for Lammersville Elementary School.
Today we will be presenting our past and upcoming events. We hope you enjoy our presentation.
Board President Olson, trustees, and Dr. Nicholas, we are so excited to be here tonight. I'm Heidi Beck, the acting principal at Lammersville Elementary, and our ASB students are going to be presenting what they've been working on to celebrate some of the things going on at our school.
Hi, my name is Faith and I'm an 8th grader. At the beginning of the school year, we had a back-to-school activity day. For the activities, we had a bracelet making station, coloring table, and musical chairs. The kids had so much fun. For the first time, we also had a snow cone machine and everyone loved it. We are so excited to plan the next one in March.
We decided to have our first annual volleyball tournament for anyone who wanted to join. We opened the evening for any 4th to 8th graders who wanted to play with their friends. Each team paid a small fee to play for a chance to win a Mountain Mike's pizza party. This was a very fun event and enjoyed by both volleyball and non-volleyball players.
My name is Piper Stokes and I'm an 8th grader. We had the opportunity to go to the high school for Leadership Day. It was very fun. We were able to talk to other ASB students from other schools. We played a lot of games to become a better leader. We hope this becomes a new thing for ASB every year.
My name is Lily Pantoja, and I am also an 8th grader. The Splashathon is a community building event that brings everyone together. ASB helps with setting up and cleaning up to make this the best event possible. There was a big water slide, tug of war into a pool of water, and we got to pie Mrs. Duran. Our 1st grade, Mrs. Kaswani, was also dunked by water by her 1st graders because they raised the most money. It is one of our favorite events.
There have been many fun events already, but we have many more coming up in the future. We will continue doing our lunch activities with kinder through 3rd grade every Wednesday. Some brand new activities we are going to try this year are Thankful Lions leading up to our November break and a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. We will also have Winter Graham starting up in December. And we are super excited for our movie night on January 29th at 5 p.m. You are all invited to attend. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions?
I don't have a question. I just have a comment that I always appreciate the presentations from Lammersville Elementary. You're so involved in close-knit school community and very inclusive, and it's great way to be. So congratulations on doing a great job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 3, roll call.
Boulay.
Here.
Colin Clements.
Here.
Vanita Daniel.
Here.
Stephanie Olson.
Here.
David Pombo.
Here.
Devika Vitolani.
Here.
Item 4, approval and/or corrections to the agenda.
Yes, we have one change. We want to pull closed session item B. We'll be placing it on a future board agenda item.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Clements and seconded by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Item 5, committee reports. Item A, District Advisory Committee. Trustee Boulay.
Thank you. The District Advisory Committee met earlier this evening, and Assistant Superintendent Sharp went over the LCAP for the 24-27 school years. She talked about the 8 state priorities, the 3 goals for Lammersville, and the actions and measurements associated with all of those goals. And she also went over the most current CAS scores. So this would be the CAS scores from last year. She went over the overall scores as well as the scores for different subgroup populations. And she reviewed the budget and how the LCAP how the budget relates to the LCAP. And that's the end of the district advisory report.
Item B, District English Language Advisory Committee. Trustee Boulay.
Thank you. The District English Language Advisory Committee met on October 24th, and Mr. Faubert ran that meeting. He talked about the priorities at each of the sites for English language instruction and strategies for parent attendance at each of the ELAC site meetings. He also talked about the reclassification celebrations at each of the schools and how many kids were reclassified. And this year the celebrations were done a little differently. They were site-based versus district-based because we do have so much success. And so by having site-based ceremonies, they're a little more personable. He also talked about the English Language Master Plan, guidelines for identification and placement of students, funding, and some of the goals. And he reviewed the LCAP and how English language instruction and the LCAP kind of sync together. And how each of those goals in the LCAP kind of include English language instruction. And the next DLAC meeting is January 23rd at 6:30 here at the district office. And that's the end of the DLAC report.
Item C, Education Committee. Trustee Pombo.
Yes, the Education Committee met on October 17th. We had a presentation by Assistant Superintendent Sharp on LCFF and the goals in LCFF and what we are doing to ensure that we achieve those goals. That ends my report.
Item D, Facilities Committee. We have our next Facilities Committee meeting tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. here in the district office boardroom, and the agenda can be found on the Lammersville website. Item E, Policy Committee. Trustee Daniel.
We have our first reading of the updated board policies and administrative regulations today, and that's the update. Thank you.
Item F, Safety Committee. Trustee Pombo.
Yes, the next meeting of the Safety Committee will be held on November 20th at 3:45 in the Professional Development Center.
And item G, Wellness Committee. The next Wellness Committee meeting will be held Wednesday, December 11th at 3:45 p.m. in the Professional Development Center. Moving on to item 6, governing board reports. Item A, we have something that I would like to present on behalf of the board to Trustee Clements, as this is his last board meeting in recognition of his 10 years of service to this community and this school district. Trustee Clements, you are very appreciative. I'll just read it really fast. This is the Lammersville Unified School District Governing Board and staff hereby present this plaque to Colin Clements, Governing Board Trustee, in honor of his 10 years of service to the Lammersville Unified School District Governing Board leadership and dedication of time in support of district excellence for the students, teachers, staff, and community. And now to our governing board reports. Student trustee Vitellani.
Good evening, everybody. I hope everyone had a great Halloween and Diwali celebration this weekend. So to start off on the note of Trustee Clemens, I just want to thank you so much for your hard work and dedication for this past decade. Although I was not here for all 10 of those years, close to 2 years, I've seen that your commitment and passion to serving on the board and for our district has constantly inspired me, and the lasting impact that you've made truly will not be forgotten. Your kindness and guidance has meant so much to me, especially when I was just starting out, and I felt unsure of what to expect. You've helped me feel comfortable and supported, and for that, I am truly grateful. I'm wishing you all the best for the next chapter, and you'll always be our deepest inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So moving on to my governing board report, I would like to start off with ASB updates. So recently during our involved training for leadership students, we learned about a creative way to appreciate different groups at our high school. So for example, my committee, we work to appreciate the front staff who gets to school every day really early and are one of the last people to leave. So we did this through a breakfast bar, and we got all the items donated through Safeway, and a special thanks to Mrs. Kaiser for her help in making this happen. For Halloween, leadership put up a trick-or-treating in the quad activity for over 30 clubs, and each club was able to set up a haunted house table, and we were able to give out treats to all of the students. For sporting updates, the fall sports have come to an end, and we've had recent senior nights for water polo, football, band, color guard, and tryouts for basketball, soccer, and wrestling have begun. For additional high school updates, I wanted to talk about the early college program. Over the past 4 years, I've had the amazing opportunity to participate in this program as I worked to earn my associate's degree while being in high school. Today we had an early college check-in, and I remember the first time that I attended these meetings as freshmen, that only a few students would fit in a classroom. And we've grown so much to the point where we can barely fit into the large learning commons. It's great to see how much we've grown, and I wanted to express my gratitude to our counselor, Mrs. Aslami, for making this happen, as well as Miss Heidi and Miss Candace from Delta College. A huge thank you to them and a shout out to them because this progress would not have been possible without their support. Additionally, the next time we meet will be after the deadline for UC and CSUs, and I once again wish all of the senior Mustangs the very best of luck. That concludes my report for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Clemens.
Thank you, Madam President. As you know, I will still be on the governing board until right before the board meeting in December when the new trustees will be sworn in. So I will technically be a board member during the special meeting next week. However, the purpose of that meeting is to appoint my replacement. Since I am precluded from joining in the discussion about the candidates and I cannot vote for my replacement, I do not intend to attend that meeting. Of course, I will be available to attend in case there is some sort of an emergency and my presence is needed in order to achieve a quorum, but I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. Therefore, barring some unforeseen issues, tonight will be my final meeting as a member of the Lammersville Unified School District Board of Trustees. To the residents of the community, our students, our teachers, and our staff, I wanted to say a heartfelt thank you for trusting me enough to be on this board for the last 10 years. It's been the honor of my life, and I have enjoyed every minute of it. Although the results are not completely final, I wanted to congratulate Trustee Pombo and Mr. Modi for the results seen thus far. Congratulations thus far. To my peers on the dais today, I want to express my admiration. Each and every one of you have proven time and again how willing you are to focus on what is best for the students, even when what is best for all of our students was distinctly unpopular with a small but incredibly vocal portion of the community. My deepest admiration for that commitment. To the new member or members of the board that are about to be sworn in next month, I wanted to wish you the best of luck and provide you with one piece of advice. School board members are not supposed to be politicians, so resist the urge to be one. When good things happen and the public brings you accolades, remember that it was the teachers and staff that actually did the work, so be sure to pass the credit to them. When there is a hiccup, accept the blame and resist the urge to deflect or point fingers. I strongly encourage you to attend the California School Board Association conference that is coming up in a few short weeks. I know from experience that the courses offered provide invaluable information. But if you go, you should also focus on getting to know the board members from other districts while you are there. There will be very few issues that you face during your term that are not at least very similar to issues that other boards around the state have already faced. In my 10 years on this board, I have found the advice from longstanding board members in other districts to be invaluable. By the time you are sworn in, I will be off the board, and therefore you will not be able to share confidential information with me. That being said, there is no information that I have that is confidential to you. If you would like some historical context or have questions about how to navigate the board or the Brown Act, I would be happy to provide you with any information, context, or guidance that I can. Dr. Nicholas can give you my cell phone number if and when you want it. And finally, to my wife, Ginny. I wanted to say thank you for allowing me to follow my dreams. As some of you may know, Ginny was the librarian for Wickland when there were only 2 elementary schools in the district. So she was the librarian for well over half of the student population. When I was campaigning, I can't tell you the number of times that I would knock on the door and a person that answered said something like, "Hey, you're the librarian's husband. We love her. You got our vote." Right after I was elected to the Board of Trustees, I attended a district event, and I looked over and I saw a child making a beeline right toward me. I remember proudly thinking, wow, some students even know who I am. And then the child marched right past me saying, "Hello, Mrs. Clements," and gave her a big hug. The boy then turned to me and said, "Hello, Mr. Library Lady," and walked off. My advice to board members, because at first that might seem strange, but that's one of my proudest moments on the board. Because if the board is doing its job correctly, nobody has to know who you are. Don't seek for everyone to recognize you or know you, because the best boards are the ones that are in cooperation with district staff and the teachers. Everything is humming along, everything is being done in the best interest of students, and honestly, it doesn't matter if people know who you are. People in the community may not know this, but a close relative of a school board member cannot get hired within the district, and if they already work in the district, they don't have to resign, but they can only get lateral moves or demotions. They cannot be promoted. Therefore, for the last 10 years, Ginny has continued to do the same job that she had for about 6 years before that, and has been precluded from applying for new and interesting positions. That is not to say that Ginny would have been given those other positions, because the district can and should hire the best person for each individual position. But my point is that for the last 10 years, Ginny could not even apply for those positions. Ginny, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all of your support over the last 10 years. And the sacrifices you have made for me. Before I yield the floor, Madam President, I would like to ask my peers on the board for one last favor. Although it is a departure from the norm, with the permission of the president and a consensus of the board, I would like to call for the motion to adjourn tonight and be able to bring down the gavel to end my last meeting on this board.
Trustee Clements, I think everyone's ears would be grateful for you to get through the last gavel strike. So I have no problem with that. I think the board is nodding their head in consensus and agreement. So please just remind me, because I don't want to get in robotic mode and ruin that moment for you. Thank you, Trustee Clements. Trustee Boulay.
Thank you. My first comment is to Trustee Clements. And I want to say that it has truly been a joy to work with you for the last few years that I've been on this board. You have been an inspiration to me, a cheerleader, and a role model. Your discussion comments are insightful, and you have a very unique way of using your words to get your point across and to make your point understood. And I have always admired that, and I am truly going to miss your passion, your comments, your hard work, and your insightful discussion. And I wish you the best of luck. On October 22nd, I attended the 5th-6 volleyball game at Bethany. I'm sorry, it was Bethany versus Cordis at Cordis. And it was a really good game. Cordis came out ahead, but both teams played very, very well. On October 24th, as reported earlier, I attended the DLAC meeting. On the 25th, I attended a girls' water polo match, which unfortunately Mountain House wasn't the winner in this match, but gosh, those girls played hard and they did not give up. And water polo looks like an exhausting sport. So kudos to those girls. On October 31st, I watched the Wickland Halloween Parade and enjoyed all the costumes. And I love how the teachers dress up in coordinating and creative outfits. On November 11th, I attended the Dia de los Muertos celebration hosted by the Mountain House Chamber, and that was really it was an amazing event. It was well coordinated, it was well attended, and I learned a lot. I really enjoyed the night. Earlier today, I had a site visit at Altamont with Mrs. Bogle, and I'd like to thank Mrs. Bogle for her time. I saw some great instruction, a lot of small group work, a lot of work on projects. There were a couple of the middle school students, ASB students, who gave a presentation to Mrs. Bogle, so I was able to sit on that, and I was very impressed with what they did. But I think one of the things that really resounded with me during that site visit is how cozy and welcoming Altamont is. From the office to each and every of the classrooms we visited, it's comfortable, it's inviting, the smells are amazing because everybody has different air fresheners, and it's just awesome. So I think it's a great place for the kids to learn, and it really wanted me to be a little kid again and go back to school. Finally, I'd like to end my report by thanking all of the candidates who ran in this election for trustees areas 1 and 2. I know that running a campaign takes a lot of passion, a lot of commitment, a lot of time, and a lot of courage. And the numbers are looking strong for Mr. Pombo and Mr. Modi. I know they're not finalized yet, but again, I want to thank all the candidates for running because it does take courage to put yourself out there. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you, Trustee Boulay. Trustee Pombo.
First of all, I would like to address Trustee Clements. It has been my honor and privilege to spend the last 10 years on the board with Trustee Clements, and in my estimation, he has been an exemplary trustee, always most concerned with what's best for our students, their families, and the district. He's not only been a colleague, but a good friend, I believe. I will miss having him on the board, and although we have occasionally been mistaken for one another here and there, that's all right.
Trustee Pombo, I was about to say that when I filled out the resignation, I did sign it Trustee Pombo, so.
Well, then we'll be filing forgery charges. And I would like to thank Trustee Clements for his 10 years of dedication. It's been an honor. On October 17th, I attended the Education Committee that I reported on earlier. On the 18th, I attended the Lammersville Harvest Carnival, where there was a good turnout, lots of kids having lots of fun with pumpkins and games and snacks and the whole bit. On October 25th, I attended the Halloween extravaganza at Cordis, and more of the same, kids enjoying themselves and eating and having fun. I also got to witness Principal McDonald being repeatedly hit in the face with whipped cream, which was entertaining. Then that same day, I attended the Costa Trunk or Treat, which was enjoyable. Lots of kids in costume, trunk or treating behind the cars. That evening, I attended the Mustang football games, and although the varsity didn't prevail, I always enjoy watching them play. On October 26th, I attended the Diwali event at Central Park, which is always enjoyable. On the 27th, I was one of the judges at the Mountain House Flag Football Halloween Parade, which is always fun, lots of costumes, and the kids get to trick or treat at booths by the sponsors. On October 29th, I attended the LUSD Spelling Bee, and boy, am I glad I didn't have to spell those words. On October 30th, I attended the Costa reclassification ceremony. Very proud of the students who work hard and the staff who help them work hard to become English proficient. On November 5th, I attended the site council meeting at Lammersville School. And earlier this evening, I, along with Trustee Olson, attended the Mountain House High School reclassification ceremony. And once again, it's very gratifying to see the work that our staff and students do for the students to become English proficient. And that concludes my report.
Trustee Daniel.
Thank you, Preston. I'm going to start off with the board report and save the best for the last, which is my journey with Trustee Clements. So I start off with October 25th. I attended the Student of Month Assembly at Lammersville Elementary School. Congratulations to all the kids who won awards. Very well organized assembly, and I was very happy to be there and support the first assembly presented by Acting Principal Heidi Beck. On October 26th, I attended the Mountain House Diwali Mela in the afternoon, and it was wonderful to see all our students and parents perform. On October 26th, during the evening, I attended the Diwali Mahotsav, hosted by V5 Cultural Foundation. On October 29th, I was one of the judge or a spectator, possibly, at the LUSD District Spelling Bee. Congratulations to all the winners and those who participated. It is already an award to just be there as part of the district spelling bee. On October 30th, I attended the Mountain House High School CASP Perfect Score Award celebration. Over 40 students won the awards in English, math, and science. So proud of all the students, and all the parents were there to celebrate too. On October 30th, I was also there to celebrate the students who got promoted in the COSTA's reclassification ceremony. It was nice to see parents there encouraging their kids. On October 31st, I attended the Halloween parade at Cuesta, and I had a great time with the admin and staff. And thanks to Principal Vera and Vice Principal Katie for assisting me there and being kind enough to walk with me. I was dressed as a Snow White, and I actually tried to, they call it the do-it-yourself dress, and I tried that, and I was very doubtful whether I really looked like a Snow White. And as I walked into the Cuesta Park, a mom was pushing the stroller with her kid there, and she said, "Oh, you're Snow White." I was like, "Do I really look like a Snow White?" And she said, "Yeah, yeah." And then, okay, I was, content with whatever I did. So I had a lot of fun. On November 2nd afternoon, I attended the Mountain House Diwali event organized by the MHTC organization. I witnessed a lot of our students and parents perform too. On November 2nd evening, I attended the Day of the Dead block party, which was presented by the Mountain House Chamber and organized by City Council member Matt Disco. It was a beautiful event where we remembered all our elders, all our lost loved ones. I truly enjoyed that particular evening. So with all these events, and I happened to see that at every event where our kids perform, whether it be academic or cultural and art form, I was able to see that the parents were always their parents, grandparents, relatives were there in order to encourage the students. And I just want to say that they are creating memories. There are memories being created there at every event. And I got to understand that when I was actually sharing to my daughter, who's a junior in college. I was telling her, I'm going to be a judge at the LUSD district spelling bee. And immediately she was, "Oh, I remember the spelling bee," because she participated when she was in her 6th or 7th grade. And we just went down the memory lane after so many years. And that is when I understood, oh, we are creating memories. Parents just being there, we are actually creating such wonderful memories which are going to be remembered years after. So I really appreciate all the parents and all the students who are participating in any sort of extracurricular activity and academic activity, because these are memories that you're going to carry towards your life. I would also like to congratulate all the candidates who ran for the LUSD board position. As Lisa mentioned, it takes a lot of courage to be out there. And congratulations to Trustee Pombo and to Samik Modi, who are the front runners right now. And it's a service that you commit to. And I really thank everyone who wanted to participate and be a part of the service. Lastly, I would like to thank Trustee Clemens for all his service and for being there as part of my journey as a trustee. And I would like to share what I learned from you, and you may not even know that I learned this from you. So Trustee Clemens did mention about the CSBA conferences where we go and shared very wise words to the forthcoming board members. And I have to say that those words are kind reminders for us here too. So thank you for sharing those words. But going back to the CSBA conference, it was a new experience for me to be at the conference. And I know that 2 years, 2 years back, when there was an event where we had all the district, board members, superintendents, staff, we were all at a, dinner, and there were round tables, with each district sitting together. And I saw that Trustee Clemens just took his drink, went to each table, each and every table, introduced himself, started talking, laughing with them, and I was just observing him. How was he able to do that? Because I'm just sitting here and I'm trying to have conversation with my board members, and I'm just watching him as he goes through each table. And then I asked him once, "How do you do that?" And he said, oh, just have a drink and just keep talking. Just ask them, just open out and ask them. And I actually, that's something that I took from you. I would like to carry it on with me. And I know that I tried doing it last year. I was able to talk to one superintendent from another school district and a couple of board members, but I know that I'll improve. But that's something that's just amazing to do, because you're able to easily connect with people, and that's something that I'm going to learn and remember to, to connect with other board members, because there is so much that we can learn from other school districts too. So thank you so much for teaching me all the little things that you have taught me so far, and I will definitely miss your on-the-spot humor. You'll be greatly missed. Thank you. Thank you, bro. Thank you, President.
Thank you. And as for my report, I'm going to also, I had intended to save the best for last also, and hopefully not shed any tears. So as to my report, on October 19th, I attended the Fall Carnival at Cuesta, put on by the Cuesta School Foundation, and it was a great event. It's been an event that's been going on for like a decade now, and it's just a wonderful way for the community to engage with each other. I attended the final home water polo game for Mountain House High School, and I love that program and the positivity of the coaches and the hard work that they put into just becoming a really strong team. And I've seen so much growth in them over the year, one small year, and it's not easy to grow in water polo. Like it is a hard sport. On that same day, I attended the Central Catholic football games on our home field, and I had the best seat in the house again. And I'm not sad that some people don't sign up for chain gang, because I love it. It's great, and I like I have said before, I'll say it again, I'm always very proud of how our team and our coaches conduct themselves from a field view perspective, and I want to say that the team worked really hard, and I could see how they just kept their heads up and they kept working hard, and being in a tough league, that's not always easy, but I very much admire that grit and persistence and perseverance. I attended the Diwali Festival at Central Park on October 26th. On October 27th, I was a judge with Trustee Boulay and Trustee Pombo at the Flag Football Halloween Parade, which was very fun. And on November 2nd, I also attended the Day of the Dead block party, and I love that we celebrate every culture here in our community. And then today, as Trustee Pombo said, I attended the reclassification community, and it's one reclassification ceremony, and it's wonderful to celebrate that success of becoming proficient in the English language, because it's not an easy task to do, and it's an extra challenge that students that need to learn English take on, and so I'm very proud of those students. I would also like to thank the candidates who put their names on the ballot for serving on the school board. It's not easy to put yourself out there, and so thanks to all of them for running a very respectful, clean campaigns, and congratulations to those who seem to be in the lead in winning, Mr. Modi and Trustee Pombo. And I would just say, I echo Trustee Clement's wise counsel that as school board members, we are servant leaders. And it makes me very happy when I show up at the high school or to a school, and I'm checking in for like a visit or a meeting with somebody, and they have no idea who I am, because that tells me that we're doing a good job in this district of they don't have to find out who the board members are to address a problem, because it's being addressed by staff. And so that's really wonderful, like you said, Trustee Clements, and I love serving on this board with servant leader-minded people. And that leads me to the best part of my report, which is Trustee Clements.
Bless you. Bless you.
Sorry.
I consider you not only to be an exemplary board member, as does Trustee Pombo, a role model, but a friend. And it has been my absolute honor and privilege to be with you the last 4 years as a fellow trustee. And before that, it was my privilege to be out in the audience as a member of the community. And I want you to know that it doesn't go unnoticed, your compassion for students and your vision of inclusion. You've been a very inclusive board trustee, making sure that is the focus, and that matters. It matters that we consider each and every student, and your example has done that. And the way you lead has put that at the forefront, and I very much admire that, because that is a student-centered focus, and I really appreciate your years of service. You will be very missed, but I wish you the best in your new career.
Thank you very much.
And that concludes my report. And we will now move on to item 7, receiving of public comments. I do not have any blue comment cards. Is there any member of the public who at this time wants to make a comment? Seeing none, we will forego reading our board policy on public comments and move on to item 8, consent items for consideration. Actions proposed for consent are consistent with the approved practices of the district and are deemed routine in nature. Trustees receive board agenda background information in advance of scheduled meetings and are prepared to vote with knowledge on the consent items, which are item A, governing board meeting minutes of the regular meeting on October 16th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Item B, contracts under $50,000. Item C, ratification of budget revisions for September 2024. Item D, ratification of certificated and classified personnel actions. Item E, ratification of 2025-2026 inter-district transfer requests. Item F, approval of early high school graduation or reduction of graduation requirements petition for one student, number 24-2507GR. Item G, ratification of school-sponsored overnight trips. Item H, declaration of surplus materials, e-waste. Item I, updated 2024-2025 fundraisers. And item J, acceptance of donation, $250 from MCH Electric Incorporated for transportation costs for Cordes Elementary School choir and band students to attend a national competition at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom in Vallejo. Do any members of the board wish to poll or further discuss any of the consent items for consideration?
Move to approve consent items.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. And Madam Clerk, will you please do the honors?
Thank you. I'd like to welcome the following employees to the Lammersville Unified School District. Kaylani Badu, ELAP Instructional Aide. Casey Boomer, Occupational Therapist. Sarah Gazal, Bilingual Instructional Aide. Sophia Kamaludin, Elementary K-8 Lead Custodian. Daisy Lara Dela Cruz, ELAP Instructional Aide. Rini Paul, ELAP Instructional Aide. Mamatha Rathnakarman, ELAP Instructional Aide. Kelly Reinbolt, Self-Contained Classroom Teacher. Gayatri Sharma, ELAP Instructional Aide. Monica Soto Aguirre, Elementary K-8 Custodian 1. Kalpana Vadla, ELAP Instructional Aide. Haley Yates, Health Teacher. And Ki Hua Yu, Food Service Worker. Welcome to the Lammersville family.
Moving on to item 9, District Administrative Reports. Item A, Superintendent's Report.
Yes, so we're going to have Assistant Superintendent Sharp give a comprehensive overview of our last spring's CASP results, but I wanted to kind of present some context. The CASP is a one moment of time. It's a summative assessment provided by the state. It gives a comparable on multiple levels, both subcategory and by school, by district, and it allows you kind of to measure yourself on your progress and growth over time. So we're very proud of our outcomes here. Our district in the past was always doing very well. We've kind of reached a new pantheon of good performance, high performance. So Assistant Superintendent Sharp is going to present that. The other thing that's happening is there's a certain threshold where districts hit where it starts to modulate. And so when you're lower scoring, you can jump at bigger, larger amounts. It's kind of like a curve in a sense. But as you get higher, it becomes more difficult. And so what I think the community and the board will see over time is that modulation, that there'll be moderate growth, maybe a little drop here and there. And you'll see that amongst the high-performing districts we're going to demonstrate with in terms of comparables with our district. But it's something we should all be very proud of. There's some areas that we're studying to see how can we do better. But for the most part, the school board's leadership, our site leadership, the community, our parents who send kids ready to learn to school, we have some very good results.
Good evening, President Olson, trustees, Trustee Pombo, and Trustee Clements. And Dr. Nicholas, thank you for having me this evening. Sorry. Trustee Boulay and Daniel. I just had to, one last time to make sure that I ingrain it in my head.
If anyone makes a mistake moving forward, that would be bad.
Duly noted. Thank you for having me this evening. As Dr. Nicholas shared, I'm going to be discussing the 2024 CASP highlights. As we open up the presentation, LUSD remains the highest performing school district in San Joaquin County. LUSD far exceeds state and county proficiency in English language arts, math, and science. And we can now say that LUSD performs at a similar level with high performing school districts in the East Bay. So as we get started into the presentation, we will talk about some areas where we're focusing on supporting students. So as a reminder of our 3 district goals of impact teams, good first instruction, and the 20%. So starting off, this slide shows how the district compares to the state and county in the 3 areas. So on the left side, you're going to see ELA, the middle, math, and then the right, science. So here in yellow, you're going to see the state proficiency in ELA, math, and science in yellow. In gray is how the county, San Joaquin County, is performing in those subject areas. And then in the blue, the district. So as you can see stated before, we are well exceeding state and county. These are snippets from the CASP website. What I want you to note here is while in the center of the donut, it does show our proficiency level, I want to draw your attention to this little salmon orange colored area. That is the lowest performance band of CASP, and that's where the lowest number of our students sit. So in English language arts, less than 12% of our students are in that category. In math, less than 13%. And in science, 4% of our students sit there. The majority of our students who are not at proficiency level are near proficiency level. So that is really something for us to celebrate and be excited about. So looking at our district CASP year-to-year comparison for school sites. At the top of this slide, you're going to see Lammersville overall. And on the left side in the blue is 2024. On the right side is 2023. And as you go down the bar chart, you're going to see it by school site. So where Lammersville grew 1%, you see Cordis grew 7%, Hanson 1%, Cuesta 3%, and so on. Looking at math, the district did drop less than 1%. However, we can't measure that here. We round up, but we did do a slight drop. However, some sites grew in math. So Cordis grew 2%, Hanson 1%, Cuesta 1% in math. And looking at science, the school district did grow 2%, as did many of our sites. And you can see here, celebration for Cordis, significant 14% growth year to year in science, and Lammersville growing 5% year to year. So now we look at district as it relates to San Joaquin County. You can see at the top again, it is Lammersville. 2024 now is on the left, 2023. And Lammersville as it compares to San Joaquin districts in math and in science. And so what I really want to take time is to talk to you about how we are comparing to the East Bay districts, because when we look at our demographics, we are really more comparable to those districts in the East Bay versus the San Joaquin County. So again, over on the left side is 2024, the right side 2023. The green arrows show when a district has increased. So you can see here Lammersville and Alameda County have shown increases where our neighboring districts over the hill have decreased. And again, this goes to what Dr. Nicholas was explaining, that when you get to this level and you get up high, you're going to have fluctuations. Some years go up a little bit and others go down. And these are math scores. and then science. And what I want to take time here on this slide is to really recognize, looking at last year's science scores, Lammersville was at 59%, and we were in I don't want to say a place, but we were 5th. And this year in science, we are second to Dublin. So we've done a great job growing our scores, and why that first slide, instead of saying we are nearing our neighbors over the East Bay, we are among them now, where our students are doing very well. So moving on now to our district subgroups, and I talked a little bit about this earlier in DAC as well. So this slide, there's a lot, so I'm going to walk through it slowly. On the left-hand side, this 47% represents the state proficiency level on ELA. The 39% represents overall proficiency at county, and 74% is district overall. What I want to bring attention to everyone is that this 47 and 39% are the same exact numbers as my slide last year. They're not errors. It's just such a small percentage movement that they're the same numbers for state and county. Now, if we go over to the right, this 50% represents our Black African American. Those students did grow, and in addition to showing growth, they also have a higher proficiency by 3% and 11% with overall state. So overall state is 47%, and our Black African American population's 50%. Overall, 39% for the county, and our Black African American subgroup by itself outperformed overall county. Looking at Hispanics, same is true. They grew year to year and also outperformed state by 6%, outperformed county by 14%. Our socioeconomically disadvantaged students grew year to year, outperformed state by 4%, outperformed county by 12%. And now this year, we are required to report out on our white population as well due to a lack of growth. So they did not grow year to year. However, they did outperform state by 16% and outperformed county by 24%. All these celebrations to say we do also have a green bar at 28%. Those are English learners. I will speak about this at a later slide. We do recognize there's still work to be done there, as well as 20% for our students with disabilities that we need to support them as well. So looking at math, same thing over on the left-hand side. We have 36% overall proficiency for state, 28% overall proficiency for county, and 69% overall proficiency for Lammersville. With our student groups, while they didn't grow year to year, they are still achieving at a greater level than the proficiency for state and county. So Black African American outperformed county by 6%. English learners outperformed county by 3%. Hispanic outperformed state and county by 4% and 12%. Socioeconomically disadvantaged outperformed state and county. And then our new reporting on white outperformed state and county as well. In science, we have state and county, 31% and 25% proficiency, with Lammersville at 61%. Our subgroups, Black African American, outperforming county by 5%. Our Hispanic did go up in science and also outperformed state and county. Our socioeconomically disadvantaged outperformed state and county. And our white did increase for science and outperformed state and county overall proficiency. So with that, this screen now shows your 23-24 on the left side, the dark blue, to 22-23. You can now see what growth rate our different subgroups grew. So you can see here, Black African American grew 2%, Hispanic grew 2%, and socioeconomically disadvantaged grew 2%. In math, we did not have the growth among the subgroups. We do have Hispanic that remained flat, but not growth like we saw in ELA. And in science, while we have Black African American remained flat, Hispanic grew 2%, socioeconomically disadvantaged remained flat, and white grew 9% in science scores. So now taking a look at those subgroups and how they compare to subgroup performance in the East Bay District. So on this slide, I'm going to have this come in to draw a lot of attention to this. We're no longer going year to year. On the left-hand side of these slides, there's now going to be ELA, and the gray on the right-hand side is going to be math. So you see the dotted line going down vertically. Our Black African American student subgroup outperformed all of the other Black African American subgroups and with our East Bay districts in ELA. And in math, we were second only to San Ramon Valley. So our Black African American subgroup did very well. Our English learners also did quite well, outperforming everyone other than Dublin and ELA, and then Dublin and San Ramon Valley in math. Our Hispanic Latino students also performing well in ELA and math. Socioeconomically disadvantaged students. Students with disabilities. Again, this is something I'll come to in our future reflection slide. You can see that we didn't do as well with students with disabilities as our other neighboring districts and our white students. So this is science now. That was ELA and math before. Again, Black African American beat out everybody in science as well. Here's English learners. Hispanic Latino. Socioeconomically disadvantaged. Students with disabilities. And our white students. So what does that tell us? Reflections, looking back at this CASP data, special education, we have already gotten ahead of many of these things. We've purchased a new curriculum already. We've provided professional development to our teachers in the realms of curriculum, co-teaching at the high school, and in some opportunities in the middle school, as well as instructional strategies. For English learners, we purchased a new curriculum in our high school, provided additional newcomer support. ELD training has been provided to all TK through 8th grade teachers in both designated and integrated ELD strategies. There is already a future bilingual aid professional development planned in January and February, and all new students newly acquiring English have an opportunity to take Lexia English, which is a computer program for them to use. We continue implementation of math intervention K-8 at our K-8, as well as utilization of the success period at the high school. And then lastly, we are in year 2 of Mastery Connect, which is our new assessment platform that we can use to monitor student progress in all math and ELA. Again, going back to our highlights, we remain the highest performing school district in San Joaquin County. LUSD far exceeds state and county proficiency in English language arts, math, and science, and LUSD performs at a similar level with high-performing school districts in the East Bay. I can't even say at a higher level. Just, there's proof. I just showed you guys. Any questions?
It appears to me, I understand the concept that as you improve, eventually you get to a point where, it's going to warble a little bit and you're going, up and down. My encouragement would be for those areas that we went down, next year, when we look at the results, we recognize that we recognize that it went down and compare ourselves to make sure that instead of doing this, where we're just going up and down and we're staying at the same level, that we're doing this, right? Mm-hmm. That, and if you only compare to the prior year, you don't know that on those items.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question, but it's more of a comment, I guess. So I remember over the past years that we talked about science, where we were not up to the mark in science. And I know that we worked on getting the right resources, like your last slide where you highlighted, for English learners and what are the extra resources, right? And I see that we have worked on the science and now we are, where we would like to be with the resources that we have provided. So over the past few years, if I remember, we were not where we are right now at math, right? We have fallen down a little. So have we started an analysis on why that happened, or what are we going to do about it?
So are you saying that you're seeing a decline over time in math is what you're thinking? I just want to make sure I understand your question.
Sure. The year comparison, if you see like from last year to this year, we have declined by a percentage or 2%.
Less than 1%.
Less than 1%.
Yeah.
And my question is, we have always been growing in math, right, over the years. And as Trustee Clemens suggested, it would help with the years, the previous years too. But if I remember, we have never declined. That's what I'm trying to say. So when we are dipping down, I'm just like how we started the analysis for science, my question is, have we started understanding where did we, what could we do to bring
So
them
let
back?
me see if I can interject a point. There used to be a time with the CASP where there's a significant gap between the ELA results and the math results. And we precipitously caught the math up with the ELA. Since the last 4 years, ELA has gone up from 70 to 74, so it's little baby steps. So for a period of time, we jumped big chunks to catch up because it was over a 10-point gap. What I can say is we implemented a new math intervention last year, and sometimes there's something called an implementation gap, where we put in something new and it actually has a deleterious effect on the outcome because people are learning how to use it. So we doubled back on the FM focused math intervention, correct? So we doubled back on the PD because we realized, well, we gave the PD, the people implemented it, but maybe it didn't stick, the PD didn't stick, and it takes sometimes a year or two for a new curriculum or an intervention to work. So our analysis before even we had this data was we needed to go back and retrain people in FMI and set expectations for consistent use, which we believe is going to drive the numbers. So that's an example, I think, of what you were asking. Secondarily, a 0.8 drop could be any number of factors. So that's not necessarily disconcerting. It would be, but if next year it drops 2 and the next year 1, then you have a longitudinal piece of data that says what we're doing isn't working. We're going backwards. So we believe, and you can add, Heather, because this is really your area, but I think that's what you were asking. FMI is an intervention. We PD'd it, rolled it out. Then we went back and said, did we roll it out well with good PD and were we consistently using it? And we thought we could do better. So we increased the PD and increased the expectations around its use.
Yeah. I get the PD part and your, training how to use that particular tool. So that definitely helps. And I'm not saying that this is a big concern, but, for me, a drop just means that, okay, we should start looking at it. Just like how we started looking at science, right? And then we have reached that point. And I hear what you're saying, and I understand that. And, hopefully we will be reaching, back to where we were or, above soon. So, and definitely the point where Trustee Clemens, if we have more years to compare, that would give us because I'm going out of my memory and I hope I remember, but that will definitely help. But thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I think to go back to what Superintendent Nicholas said to begin with is, once you get to a certain point, it's way harder to go up than it is to drop a little bit. That coupled with the fact that it's not the same students every year. So, you can have anomalies in that. And so I don't feel like a less than 1% drop at that level is really anything to be concerned with. We should try to understand if there's a reason why, but I don't see a concern.
The benefit with our 3 goals of good first instruction, the 20% is and impact teams, is all of those hone in on great quality first time instruction. So we're continuing to look at that in that realm.
That's what I was thinking of as you were presenting, that, you know, like our LCAP goals really do address the things that you're seeing in the data. So I appreciate the work that's going into like supporting those students.
So just to add on that, so the 3 goals, we're going to focus on the 20% of kids who aren't there yet. That's a general number, but if you can see, you know, that's it. We're in the ballpark. So the 20% that aren't there yet. That good first-time instruction is the main driver of all learning for all kids. So that covers all the kids we have, but it also helps the 20%. And then we've had this long-term rollout of impact teams, which is taking the professional learning community model and adding a data analysis component with success criteria for kids, where kids participate in defining their own success. So that we are rolling that out now. We're year 3, and next year's year 4. So as that's slowly rolled out, cohorts of teachers have gotten better. But as a district, we're not ready to say that everybody's on the same page. So if you add data with training on good first-time instruction, with a model to talk about student outcomes that wraps back to the good first-time instruction and the kids that need it the most, our theory is, over time, that's how we're going to go from at the same level as the East Bay districts and exceed them. So that's our theory. It'll prove out over time.
I would just like to add something to what I said earlier. My intent was in no way to diminish Trustee Daniels' concern. I understand there's a concern of whenever we drop. I just was wanting to throw my 2 cents in for what I felt like the level of concern should be.
And I'd like to add just some, to contextualize too, when we're talking about, you know, growth, or there's never a time when we're not wanting that for all students. You know, even though we're presenting the data like that we're improving, it's important to celebrate the growth because that shows we're on the right track. But I just want to clarify for everyone that there's no member of the staff that doesn't want that for every single student in this district. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then we're never going to stop in, you know, trying to be better until we get there. And that's why we have the LCAP goal of going up for those 20% of students that are struggling the most.
And some of that growth for them may not show in one of these scores because they're moving from that lowest performance band up to a near standards band. They are showing growth, just not proficiency yet.
Yeah.
Which is a flaw in the system because you only get credit if you hit the top 2.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No question.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item B, district enrollment report.
Yes, we're at 7,966, and I would like to just add that the model homes are being built in 2 different portions of the city.
Dr. Nicholas, if you could just go find 34 votes, I would hit 8,000.
I think that's going to happen probably by March.
Item C, Williams Quarterly Uniform Complaints, July 15th through October 15th, 2024.
Yeah, there are no WIMS reports.
All right, and then Director LeGrand, District and Maintenance Operations Report.
Good evening, thanks for having me. First up, I have the operations report from Director Dixon. Operations department is fully staffed. The new civic permits person started 2 days ago on Monday. And then the last thing is that everything went smooth yesterday with the voting centers at all the school sites, no issues. So that's good news. Maintenance report, I'm happy to report the roof at Hanson's fixed from the fire several weeks ago. It's been watertight for a few weeks. There was one wall vent that was a goofy size, had to get a custom wall vent made, but that got put in last week. That's all wrapped up, ready for winter. The pool, it's been really difficult last week and a half. As we talked about before, the sand filters got repaired, but there was a bunch of sand in the bottom of the pool. Larry and Ruben and Adolfo, our 3 maintenance guys, went out there and did it old school with a broom and a brush and the old school pump to get most of the sand out to help out the robot vacuum cleaner doesn't deal with the sand very well, so we did it by hand. Spent almost a whole day out there getting most of the sand out. So we have a loaner vacuum for now because ours kind of got messed up. All the sand it was taken in. Both the heaters went out late last week. They got fixed Monday, so they're both operational now. The acid pump went out last week. That got fixed today. With the acid pump out, the pH was too high and the chlorine levels were off too. So, but like I said, the pump got fixed. I checked the pool this afternoon. The pH is where it's supposed to be, is a 7.4, and the temperature was a comfortable 82 degrees. So everything's back to normal. Knock on wood for how long it's going to last. We have 2 Epic interns this fall. We have them all day Thursdays again. They've been mostly doing grounds work with our 2 grounds guys. I interviewed a 3rd student today, and looks like he might come on board as early as next week. So we could have 3 people for the rest of the fall semester. Today, our 2 grounds guys, Juan and Arturo, they started doing some tree replacement at the high school. I was given direction to replace a bunch of trees at the high school. We started with the cypress trees. We have 10 to replace, 1 on the front, 6 in the quad, 3 in the back by the garden. So they bought the trees today, started planting them in the ground. They got several in today. Should be done by tomorrow or maybe Friday at the latest. Done with that. I know we have a crepe myrtle to replace in the quad and a couple other trees to replace after that. So we'll get on those after we get the cypress trees in. Yesterday I had my facilities meeting with principal at the high school and the athletic director. Our next meeting is Monday, December 9th. Last Wednesday, I walked Cuesta. Cuesta has a slide that's cracked. We've tried to patch it. We got epoxy on it. It holds kinda, doesn't work well. It needs to be replaced. So I walked with the vendor. Since we were there, we walked the entire campus, including the Montessori preschool, identified 5 or 6 other things that are worn, need to be replaced. They're getting me a quote. We'll get it ordered, and our staff will install it once it gets here. Updating our projects, a new classroom building at the high school. I'm sure everyone's noticed the site's come on completely vertical, including the roof. We had our online construction meeting today. I talked to the contractor at the meeting, and they expect the building to be watertight in about 6 to 8 weeks, so mid to late December. So knock on wood, weather will hold out for another 6 weeks. We'll be good to go. We're still on track for a substantial completion at the end of June. So that's that one. The windscreens, tennis courts are all done. They've been done. We sent off the ones that were messed up for the pool. They were too long. They haven't come back yet. Whenever they get here, we will install them. It's been weeks. We're waiting. So the Lammersville kitchen project, demolition's done. The new exhaust fans are on the roof. The new makeup air unit is on the roof. The roof has been patched back for where it had to be cut open. So it's good and watertight for when winter comes. We did a preliminary proactive walk with the health department on Monday the 21st, just to identify any potential problems that may come up. No issues came up there. The plumbers have started their work, cut open the slab. We're having problems with the pipes. The pipes are really, really old, really brittle. The line to the grease trap was plugged. So we got that cleaned out last Wednesday on the 30th. One of the floor drains isn't draining. We tried to take the clean out of one of the pipes. It completely snapped at the 90 because it's old and rusty. So we're meeting Friday morning out at the school to figure out the best path forward. To me, we're going to have to catch the pipe as it comes through the footing and just replace them there up to the back wall with the plumbing. That's the only way we're going to be able to. I would hate to cover all that stuff up and then have something leak and we have to jackhammer that up, and it'd just be not a good idea. It's not that far. It's from here to the wall to replace, not a huge amount of pipe. It just needs to be done, I think, in my opinion. But I'll see what happens after the meeting on Friday.
Jimmy, can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah.
The school district has had for, I think, 3 or 4 years now, a modernization project on the state funded list, which has remained unfunded. With yesterday's results, it appears that Proposition 2, the state construction bond, for $10 billion, 8.5 of which will support modernization projects and new construction projects. When the state sells the bonds, I believe the modernization project at Lammersville which was a comprehensive list that Jimmy came up with, will garner the district approximately $2.7 million that will assist in addressing similar things that come up along the way. So I don't know why it's taken so long. I can tell you why, but let's just say we should be glad it passed. Sorry to interrupt, but we had a good day yesterday.
We've been doing the best to piecemeal stuff in. You may remember last summer we put the fence in just to get some things done the best we can, and Bernie's pretty much covering the cost of this whole project, just trying to get some things done. So anyways, that's where we're at with that. The field at Casa, we reseeded the field at Casa, the soccer field and the cricket field on the first Saturday of fall break, which was October 5th. I was out there last Tuesday, and there's some seedlings that are starting to sprout. The field got mowed for the first time over a month last Wednesday, and they'll be continuing to mow the rest of the winter. It's starting to fill in. We're still watering 7 days a week out there. It'd be nice to get some rain. Like, I don't want rain for the high school yet, but it would be nice to have some field for Casa, so we're in a little bit of a quandary there. So anyway, that's where I'm at with that. I think according to the landscape architect, there is some seedlings down below the surface that once it rains will still continue to sprout and help fill in the field, and we'll continue to monitor that. Upcoming items, we just had Thanksgiving break at the end of the month, and staffing update, we also have no openings, so we're 100% across the board. That's all I have. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Nope. Thank you very much.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 10, action items. Item A, consider approval of agreement with National Center for Executive Leadership. Staff report.
Yes, for the last 3 years, we've been embarked on a long-term professional development training for our mid-level managers, site administrative teams, both the principal and assistant principals, department leads, and senior leadership. This would be the next round of training. This will go for all those groups. I believe it's over 50 people who are being trained under the sense that if everyone's trained under a similar leadership philosophy and a leadership sense of language and data and how to address problems, having hard conversations, to how to build team and culture, that we would have a collective energy, focus around the same similar ways of managing the district. In my experience, when your mid-level managers are never part of the big conversation, site administrators work in isolation, department leads blame the principals, the school sites blame the district. What you end up with is everybody pointing a finger and nobody going in the same direction. So this has been a very effective training for us. This will be the next round of training for all those individuals as a team.
Move to approve the agreement with National Center for Executive Leadership.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Daniel, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Item B, consider approval of governing board resolution number 24-25-10, intention to establish a community facilities district number 2024-1 and future annexation area. Staff report.
Yeah, so this staff report will go for B and C. It's kind of a general overview. So Mountain House is a vision. It's being executed. There's a mitigation agreement that the district works with builders and developers to build schools. Schools are paid for and funded by Mello-Roos bonds and state construction bond funds. That was the vision in 1994, 1998, when it was all put together. The state construction bond methodology fell apart about 10 years ago, and we've been chasing money ever since and magically pulling things out of a hat. But this is a very important step when you consider the development north of Byron Highway. So in order for us to do development, we have to form a community facilities district. That's the mechanism where the money goes in and it can be accessed, goes into, county gets it, gives it back to us to build schools. So currently there's 2 builders, Mountain House Developers and Lennar, who are contracted north of Byron Highway. That's neighborhood I, J, K, and L. The next school, which is being designed, and NMR presented the renderings for J and K last board meeting. J is being designed in earnest and going through the approval process. In order for us to be able to, when they start selling houses, start to pool the money on the Mello-Roos side, we need to form a CFD. It's going to, the purposes of these 2 resolutions is 1, to form the CFD, and 2, issue bonds at a future date, probably latter part of 2025, maybe mid 2025, to be able to bring in money to build it. The school we anticipate will cost $60 million. All things will be very, very, very complicated with funding this school because we have no idea when the state's going to sell bonds. This school is not on the funding list. So it'll be yet another journey in funding a school, but we do have plans for that. But these two items are the necessary steps to move forward what we need to do to start to gather money to build a school. And that will be Neighborhoods J School.
Move to approve Governing Board Resolution 24-25-10, intention to establish a Community Facilities District number 2024-1 and future annexation area.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Clements and seconded by trustee Pombo, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
Roll call.
Lisa Boulay.
Aye.
Colin Clements.
Aye.
Vanita Daniel.
Aye.
Stephanie Olson.
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye.
The motion passes with 5 ayes and no nos. Item C, consider approval of Governing Board Resolution number 24-25-11, intention to incur bonded and other indebtedness.
Move to
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Move to approve Governing Board Resolution 2425-11, intention to incur bonded and other indebtedness.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
Roll call.
Aye.
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 David Pombo.
Aye.
The motion passes with 5 ayes and no nos. Item D, consider approval of contract with Edgeworth Security for upgraded access control at Mountain House High School, Phase 2, $110,764.96. Staff report?
Yes, this is a part of a long-standing project. The initial card readers at the high school with the card access instead of doing a manual key was a great idea. They were all put in. There's been some issues with longevity, and we had an initial battle with what is a monopolistic company that has a lot of control over these card key access to the door locks. So what we've done is a phased rollout now of putting in better longitudinally supported locks. This would be the second installment of this, but this model is better than replacing them all at one time, which was very, very expensive. So the first phase worked well. The second phase this will do, and will be another phase or two moving forward.
Move to approve the contract with Edgeworth Security for upgraded access control at Mountain House High School, Phase 2, $110,764.96.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Pombo, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no nos. Item E, consider approval of legal services agreement with Special Education Counsel Dennis Walliver Kelly for the 2024-2025 and 2025-2026 school year. Staff report?
Special education funding is unique in the state in that the mandates from the state and the expected services that we render creep into the general fund to a tune of about $4 million a year. Another factor in working with special education students is that there are lots of needs for legal services. We have found a very good agency that works with SDWK, and we recommend this 2-year contract as a result.
Move to approve of legal services agreement with Special Education Counsel Dennis Walliver Kelly, DWK, for the 24-25 and 25-26 school years.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no nos. Item F, consider approval to adjourn from regular session to open public hearing on collective bargaining unit proposals. 1, Lammersville Teachers Association, LTA, initial proposal to LUSD. And item 2, Lammersville Unified School District, LUSD, initial proposal to LTA. Staff report?
Yes, this is the formal process to begin a negotiation season where both sides put the parts of the contract they want to discuss. The board formally approves it, and then we commence with negotiations. This covers F through H.
Move to approve to adjourn from regular session to open public hearing on collective bargaining unit proposals 1 and 2.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Daniel and seconded by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no nos. We are now in public hearing. If anybody would like to speak, you may come forward.
Can I go around and approach the
Seeing no interest in speaking, I will entertain a motion.
Move to close the public hearing and return to regular session.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Clements and seconded by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no nos. Item H, consider approval of sunshining initial collective bargaining proposals for the 2024-2025 school year. Lammersville Teachers Association, LTA, initial proposal to LUSD, and Lammersville Unified School District's LUSD, initial proposal to LTA. I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve the sunshining initial collective bargaining proposals for the 2024-2025 school year for items 1 and 2 below.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no nos. Item I, consider approval of memorandum of understanding between the Lammersville Unified School District and City of Mountain House for school resource deputy services from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2027. Staff report?
Yes, we call it an SRD. This SRD program has worked very effectively for the district. The district covers half of the salary of the school resource deputy, and then the second half is technically covered by the city now in conjunction with the sheriff's department. We strongly recommend approving this action item.
Just for clarification, this MOU changes nothing with our SRD other than the fact that it's now an MOU with the city of Mountain House rather than the sheriff's department, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. Move to approve memorandum of understanding between the Lammersville Unified School District and City of Mountain House for school district resource deputy services from July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2027.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no nos. Item J, consider approval of contract with Condor Earth to perform Department of Toxic Substance Control, DTSC, required site investigation on the Mountain House High School South Fields project. Staff report?
Yes, so in one of the negotiation victories for the district, we were able to procure 19 acres just south of the high school campus for athletic fields and future uses that are plentiful of what the need is. But our original plan, due to costs, is to put in approximately 6 acres of athletic fields, student use field, band use fields, to help expand as we, for example, our football coach is here tonight. He's built a program that used to just have a JV and varsity team, and now we have a freshman JV and varsity team, and I believe it was 115 kids tried out. That's enough for 3 teams, so the future is bright for our mighty Mustangs. But these are the things you need when your high school gets big. This DTSC thing, believe it or not, is part of an approval process, because when we put in the fields, we want to also put in a storage facility and restroom area. And when you do build on something that kids use, you have to go through all the state hoops, and this is one of those.
Move to approve contract with Condor Earth to perform Department of Toxic Substance Control required site investigation on the Mountain House High School South Fields project.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Daniel and seconded by trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no nos. Moving on to item 11, information and discussion items. Item A, first reading of updated board policies and administrative regulations. Staff report.
Yeah, so this is here as a first step. If anyone has any questions, you can ask us now, or you can send an email or contact me and we'll follow up with answers. If not, at the next board meeting, the second reading will go forward, you'll vote on it, and those will become official.
Questions by the board? Seeing none, we'll move on to item B, DARE graduation. Staff report.
Yes, these are the dates currently identified for DARE graduations. Just with one caveat, these are subject to change.
Okay, thank you. Item 12, calendar. Item A, Thursday, November 7th, 2024, Facilities Committee meeting, 6:30 p.m., District Office Boardroom. Item B, Wednesday, November 13th, 2024, special board meeting, 6 p.m., District Office Boardroom. Item C, Wednesday, November 20th, 2024, Safety Committee meeting, 3:45 p.m., Professional Development Center. Item D, Wednesday, December 11th, 2024, Wellness Committee meeting, 3:45 p.m., Professional Development Center. And item E, Wednesday, December 18th, 2024, is the next regular governing board meeting at 7 p.m. in the District Office Boardroom. In a moment, we will be adjourning to closed session. We'll be discussing the following items. Item A, Public Employee Discipline Dismissal Release Complaint, Government Code Section 54957. And item C, Conference with Real Property Negotiators, Government Code Section 54956.8.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Based on a motion by Trustee Pombo and seconded by President Olson, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. We are now adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.